Look at those veins, look at those veins. I love the neon veins. Hey guys, welcome back to Lay's Place. I'm Lay, and if you clicked on this link, then you know that it's that time of the month. Welcome to the monthly houseplant faves. We're going to do things a little different this month. So for June, yes, do I have 5 plants that have lit up my whole world and made growing houseplants this month that much more worth it? Yeah, absolutely. But I want to offer a little bit more, and let's talk a little bit about the care plans or the way that I am caring for these plants in my environment. So we'll get our regular old top 5, and also we'll add a little bit in there for any beginner plant friends who are joining us, or just to give you guys an idea how I recommend or how I go about caring for these plants. Let's not delay. Come on in, get comfortable, stay a while. I think you're going to like it here. Let's get into the June plant faves. So for a quick recap, last month we did specifically do plants in ambient and specifically plants that I'm growing in soil. So this month we'll bring a little bit of that back also. So it's gonna be mostly soil plants. I do not think I have anything on my list that is not grown in soil. Most of my plants I grow in soil. So we'll have soil plants, and then we'll have some ambient, but we'll also have some plants that I'm growing in higher humidity. And so in talking about their care plans, we'll talk a little bit about why they have either not been transitioned to ambient yet, or maybe they never will. So let's grab that first one. So we all know this beautiful baby. This is my money tree, and she is one of the oldest plants in my collection. Which ironically enough, it was actually one of the first plants that someone purchased me intentionally. This plant is one that has taken me some time to really understand. And so not necessarily for it to be my oldest plant or one of my oldest plants. Is it currently my oldest plant? I don't have that plant anymore. No, it's not my oldest plant. It's my second oldest plant. But then that second oldest plant, it's not as big as you would expect after 3, almost 4 years of growing. And that is because there was a bit of a learning curve with this one. Specifically, this plant having the, what is it, that thick stem or that bark, because it holds water. And that was something that I knew from the beginning. And so I was working really hard not to overwater it. So this plant went through a lot of underwatering, and every so often I'll still get crispy leaves from underwatering it. So what I ended up doing is I did eventually take the band off of the roots that came with it to keep it together. So it's no longer braided together. So that one I can't really help with. I thought the braids were beautiful, but the band, it seemed to be causing some distress, and I actually lost one. It was 3 plants braided together. I actually lost one of them. So in saving it, what I did is I got rid of that one. I cleaned the roots in hydrogen peroxide, and then I potted it in a chunky mix, and it's still in a chunky mix, so that it could dry out a bit quicker. And so I used cocoa core, and then added some amendment, and then I amended it. So it's pretty well draining, but it doesn't dry out too quickly. So my care for this, I keep it in some pretty bright light, but I've noticed that it can take some lower light okay if you adjust your watering. I fertilize at every single watering with my Foliage Pro. Maybe I'll show you guys what it is in post, but I use the Super Thrive Foliage Pro. I don't know if that's what I said at first, but I use Super Thrive Foliage Pro. And so with this one, I bottom water almost exclusively. Every so often, of course, I will have to top water, but I bottom water. I sit it in a bucket, let it soak up as much water as possible. And I let this thing dry out from what I can feel. So it ends up being about 2 weeks. It sits under a grow light. I'll try and insert maybe a pic or a video of how much light it's getting and where it sits in my collection. But yeah, I let the soil dry out completely knowing that it stores some water in the bark. And then when it's time, I bottom water it and I let it drink up water over the course of the day. So, yep, that's my money tree. And I will say, it may have been responsible for me getting a little bit of money. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, that's number one on the June top fives this month. Let's get to the next one. So what's funny is what I do is I typically grab a few plants before I start recording. So while I have an idea about what I want to talk about, or I have like a cluster, it's always really hard to narrow it down to 5 plants. I'm trying not to make this anthurium heavy, but number 2 is absolutely an anthurium. And if you look at that most recent leaf, I think you'll see why. I almost want to turn off all of the lights so you can see how dark it is. Hold on. Let me see if I can turn off some of these lights. Okay. Now, is it dark in here? Obviously not, but it is a little darker. Oh, so pretty. Oh, so, so, so. Come on. Still so pretty. So this one is very near and dear to my heart. This is my Goliath S1 by Tazula Red Crystal by Pat by Wonderboy A. And it's from Ashley Aroids. And it's special because Ashley is one of the first people that I started purchasing complex hybrids from. She is a very talented Columbus-based grower and breeder. Oh my goodness. And so when I say that I like, I don't like all of that veining, it's because look at the power of just some like if it's really a stunner, it doesn't need all that vein. Now, do I have some veiny, some veiny, I can't even, but I think veiny, the next words are not appropriate. When I think of the veiny plants in my collection, do I love them? Yeah, but this is just powerful. Oh my God, just gorgeous. So yeah, definitely has earned the number 2 spot this month. So she actually is the most recent anthurium to move to ambient. She used to be in the IKEA cabinet at around 80% humidity. So she's out with us now, getting about 50, 60 at the highest percent humidity. So she actually sits by the windowsill. So she gets a little light from the back, but mostly she gets one of the grow lights that's over the anthurium corner over there. And so she is in one of these clear frosted pots. I want to say this is about a 7-inch. I'm not really sure, to be honest. She is clearly has a flower. She's not yet started producing anything yet, but she's on her way. And I do have an inflow with some pollen, so maybe I'll be able to cross them. We'll see. But yes, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous plant. I love her dearly. She is in a more I guess I would say like compacted soil, but she does get a lot of bark and perlite in there. But I wanted it to be both well draining and like retaining moisture in some way. So she's been doing great. She mostly gets bottom watered. I mean, I guess I'll probably top water her now that she's out. But most of my plants that are in the cabinet end up being bottom watered. But yeah, she is just really starting her transition. We're not seeing, this would be her oldest leaf that she still has. I'm going to say it already looks like that. So what I'm at least happy to say is that there hasn't been a quick decline, but I know we'll get a few more crusties around there. So yeah, she's got a flower. She's in caterpillar. She's working on another leaf. So yeah, why not make her number 2? So yeah, definitely big enough and a system that is robust enough to be able to move to ambient and be able to start handling that transition a little bit. So I'm not super worried about her. She's going to do just fine in ambient. As far as watering, she hasn't gotten her first watering since being out. I think she's been out of the cabinet maybe 3-4 days. It'll probably be every 7 days though. In the cabinet, she was getting watered every 2 weeks. Like she's thirsty, but not super, super, super thirsty. And so I was watering her maybe every I don't know, like 9 to 14 days, I would say. I know that sounds like a really big stretch, but I guess it really just depends sometimes. But yeah, from what I've been able to see, she can actually handle a little bit on the lower end, at least when she was in the cabinet. So we'll see what happens when she's out in ambient. And she won't be getting as much light. She won't be getting as much light now that she's older. And of course, I want to try to see us continue to get those really big, dark leaves. So, yeah, I'm thinking it'll be about 7 days, but I'm sure she'll be back on the rotation for monthly plant faves, and I'll keep you guys posted. And we'll probably have to repot her probably by the end of the summer. So stay on the lookout for her. Her next leaf is going to be massive. She's in caterpillar. It's going to be massive. Okay. But yeah, number 2. All right, guys, I got busy with a few things. So the sun has moved, my lighting has changed. So it looks a little different in the room, but we're still working on the same video, getting through the top 5 plants. And let's do number 3. This is my Homalomena. I want to say it's pink diamond. I believe that's what it's called. Let me show you guys. She is a cutie pie. And she's going through a bit of like a metamorphosis, I guess. She's a beautiful plant. She came from really good genes, but one, as you guys can see, first of all, she's dry as all get out today. But two, when I got her, I knew that I was moving to Cleveland, and so it was during the transition, and she didn't really get as much love as she needed to. On top of that, I had her in a pot that was just way too big because I thought, she was outside during the porch garden days, and she would be able to do okay before it was time to move. That was not the case. She did not size up the way that I thought she was. And so it wasn't until I recently, maybe 2 months ago, put her in this container with a chunky soil that I started to see anything happen. And this color, she was not getting this good a color before that. So she's been chopped a few times. She put out a new growth point. That's where all these pretty leaves are from. And then she's got another growth point activated down there. And then here's an offset. So she is just doing her own thing, and she's so pretty with like the pink and like it almost comes out as like a creamy orange kind of situation. So super, super love her. And I feel like I had kind of stopped paying attention to her because I was like, okay, she's never going to do anything. Even with this repot, it's not really going to have the impact that I'm hoping. And I was wrong. So I am going to throw her over here to get bottom watered as soon as she finished getting her showcase. For starters, she is in ambient. She's in soil. It's an aerated soil. I'm going to be honest, she's probably not getting as optimal care as she should. She definitely gets good lighting. I think that's what's keeping us from reverting. She gets really good lighting. But I know that she probably should have been watered last week. Her soil is insanely dry. There's not a wet spot in there. I'm actually going to sit her in here. There's not a wet spot in there. And so she probably should be getting watered at least every, I would say probably 12 days or so, but she's definitely going to almost 3 weeks without getting watered. And actually doing okay. Now, do we get a little crispy leaves sometimes? Yes, but mine has actually been really, really resilient. So I don't know if that's a Homalomena experience. I have one other Homalomena. I had another one, but I got rid of it. It was the like albo looking one, something. It was like the white colored one. If I still have a picture, I'll insert it. But yeah, I only have 2 of these, and they're actually pretty easy. Are they thirsty? Yes, but mine have not died or really had any significant setbacks. So yeah, really good bright lights. You can keep that color well. I also do, just like the other ones, I fertilize at every watering using that Super Thrive, what is it, Foliage Pro? Yeah, Foliage Pro. She gets a little silica from time to time. So that might be helping with the sometimes like pink or elbow white variegated plants. They can get that melting for the lack of chlorophyll. But while that was something that was happening before, I haven't seen it in a while. So I can't say if it's due to the silica. I know there's a lot of skeptics about silica. Um, but I do add that to my watering every so often too. So yeah, not bad. Oh, and this next leaf, oh, I can't pull it out because it's um, I can't pull it out because it's going to be dripping, but it looks super pink. So you'll definitely be seeing her in more update videos. So yeah, that's my little pink diamond over there. Yep. All right, let's get on to number 4. All right, guys. So for number 4, we did go into the cabinet. So this is not an ambient baby here. As a matter of fact, the whole time that she's been with me, she has been in high humidity. So she's actually on the list this month because in June she moved from being in one of those acrylic boxes getting 99% humidity to being in the cabinet. So this is Anthurium Doc Block Michelle by Pap Voldemort by Pap Wu 6. So it's DB Michelle, and then it's a Pap Voldemort by Pap Wu 6. And it's by my friend Tracy Alvaretto in the Columbus area. So this was, I believe, her first official hybrid that she bred herself. And so, yes, on the list, one, because it moved from, well, first of all, having pests for a very long time, from me, not from the seller, having pests for most of its life with me, at least the past, 6 months, I feel like I've been dealing with pests on this thing, or at least too afraid to give it a chance because I thought it would have pests. So it has spider mites. You guys, I was looking down the whole time because I was checking to make sure I didn't see anything. It has spider mites for a very long time. And because to be honest, I wasn't really treating it. So I wasn't seeing damage, but I was seeing them there. Which at some point we'll have to talk about how I approach. You okay, Kitty? We'll have to talk about how I approach like managing pests because the reality is that you're going to get pests. So make sure that your plants are big and strong and that they can fight them off when it comes because you're going to get pests. But anyway, she was in there for a very long time and now she's in the cabinet. So that's a big deal. And she just gave me this monster ass leaf. So I am super excited about her. I think that she is a beauty, super easy to grow. But I think my favorite thing about her is the texture of the leaf. I just think it's so beautiful. Again, not too much veining, but I love how like high def it is. We've got the overlapping, what are these, lobes, I guess is what we call them. But definitely just so pretty. And I think I've seen a few other people's plants that they're growing out from this batch. And I feel like all of ours look so different. So this one's here for like all the things, like growing an Anthurium from one of the first people you ever like, had community with when it comes to plants. It's just so cool. But yeah, this is that baby. Lives in a cabinet, about 80% humidity most of the time now, anyway. And she's only been in there for a while. So right now she's getting watered like every other week. Most of the plants from my cabinet are getting watered every other week, unless they're really tiny babes. But yeah, she is doing really well. And she'll probably get moved out after the next leaf. Like I don't babysit my plants and my anthuriums. Once you get too big for the cabinet, you got to come out. I mean, it just is what it is. So I've had a few plants that I've taken a little longer to move, but for the most part, I get them on up out of there. So can't wait to see what her next leaf looks like, which she's already working on. As you can see, I think we're in Cataphil. And it's going to be exciting. Number 4. All right, let's get number 5. All right, guys. So number 5 was a bit of a fight. I had 3 anthuriums in mine, 2 from the cabinet. One was variegated. One just so beautiful. And then there's another. The one that I actually ended up deciding on is living in ambient, and I just really like to give the ambience to shout out. So let's look at this beauty. This was her last leaf. Look at those veins. Look at those ferns. I love the neon veins. So beautiful. But look at her newest leaf. Look how like slender it is. Do you see that? Please tell me you see that. Somebody pick up on this. Somebody come look at this. There it is. Do you see that? Gorge. Freaking gorge. So gorge. Now, is she leaning? Because I need to bury her further into the pot? I mean, yeah, but that's not what we're here to talk about, is it? She put out this leaf, her first leaf in ambient. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, please stop letting them tell you that you have to grow anthuriums in high humidity. Like, and now look at, I mean, like, this is like, right? She's been in ambient for what, like 2 months now? Be so for real. Like, she's having a ball. Oh, I didn't even tell you what the name of the plant is. This is a Anthurium Tim Anderson Crystal Mag by Tim's Black by Open. But it is from Good, what is it, Nice Plants, Good Pots. I got a few plants from them in the fall. But in soil, in ambient, getting what, 9 hours of grow light above, and then it gets some light from behind at the window. And it needs to be repotted. But she's doing really well. And that's really all that matters. She gets watered every 2 weeks, like every 12 days or so. I'll say about 12 days for her. Is about when I start to water her. She already leans. When she's dry, she just is like she just leans all the way over. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you're thirsty. But yeah, this one right here is insanely beautiful. I just love collecting anthuriums. Oh my goodness. Did I talk about the soil? I mean, unless it's most of them are chunky. When I do chunky aerated soil, I got cocoa core base. I mean, it's pretty much it. I'll be honest. My soil is whatever the hell I have. That's true. Anyway, that's number 5. She looks crazy. Like, she looks crazy, right? Let's do it. All right, guys. So that is it. That was all 5. Okay, how many? It wasn't that anthurium heavy this time, right? Was that like 3 anthuriums, a Homalomena, and a what is it, Guinea chestnut? I can't remember what an actual money tree is called, but it wasn't bad. Wasn't too anthurium heavy, but thank you guys so much for joining. Let me know if any of the care tips were helpful. To be honest, I've never really even been someone who looks for care tips. I really look to whatever the plant is telling me, but I don't know if that would be helpful for people or affirms maybe like what they're doing already. But yeah, in my conditions, that's about what I water those plants. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for coming. Like, comment, share, consider subscribing, share this with someone who my content might resonate with, and let me know what you think below. All right, guys. Bye.